True Story Media.
The Hulu original series, Furious, now streaming on Hulu and Hulu on Disney+.
There are 3 victims we know of. The suspect is female, white, late 20s.
Female serial killers kill for power, control.
I believe there's a deeper motivation here.
You have no idea who you're dealing with, and you are going to end up dead.
I've been waiting for you.
Watch the Hulu original series, Furious, now streaming on Hulu and Hulu on Disney+. For bundle subscribers. Terms apply.
Suffering from dry, tired, irritated eyes? Don't let dry eyes win. Use Systane Pro. It hydrates, restores, and protects dry eyes for up to 12 hours. Systane Pro. Triple action dry eye relief.
This podcast contains adult themes and language, and some of the things that we discuss may be disturbing to some listeners. In this podcast, we discuss sexual assault, torture, race, and murder. Listener discretion is advised. Please take care of yourself.
Welcome to Fruit Loops, Buiti Binafi, and Bienvenidos Bitches. Thank you so much for listening. Fruit Loops is a true crime, history, and comedy podcast that delves into the often overlooked stories of serial killers of color and, more importantly, the victims. We take deep dives into the lives and crimes of these killers worldwide, while also examining the history, culture, and social factors that may have influenced their actions. And the reason that we cover these crimes is because they often go unnoticed by the public. And why is that? Because in the simplest of terms, the news is racist. Allegedly.
And we are Wendy and Beth. She's Wendy, a Black Latinx woman, and I'm Beth, and I just happen to be white. That's just a little piece of who we are. Another piece is that although we are both fascinated by true crime, really fascinated by true crime, and we know a lot about it, keep in mind that we are not journalists, investigators, or psychologists, and the opinions expressed in this podcast are just that, our opinions.
And we're talking about who? Hit it, Beth.
Jake Bird, also known as the Tacoma Axe Killer. Jake Bird was born in Louisiana in what he described as a town with no post office, and he claimed that he could not even remember it. He confessed to being involved in or committing 44 murders. He was apprehended on October 30th, 1947, and hanged at the Washington State Penitentiary in Walla Walla.
All right, let's get into some stats, everybody, shall we? Oh, excuse me, my hip-hop air horn just went off. So he was linked to 12 to 46 victims. He confessed to 46, but I don't think any of them were ever for sure. The victims were mostly white ladies. The characteristics of his crimes included rape and robberies. The method of his crimes was he would beat victims with an axe or a hatchet or stab people with a knife. The crimes were from the 1930s to 1947, and they occurred all over the United States, including Florida, Illinois, Iowa, Kansas, Kentucky, Michigan, Nebraska, Ohio, Oklahoma, South Dakota, Wisconsin, and Washington. Now, I just have to say, I don't know why any Black person would go to some of those states on purpose.
Yeah, South Dakota.
South Dakota? Did I see a Wisconsin? Iowa? I didn't know there was Black people in Iowa, but there probably are. But anyway, and he was apprehended, as Beth said, in October 1947 in Tacoma.
Okay, so his early life, we don't have a lot of information about that. All we know is that he was born in Louisiana in 1901, and he reportedly had a troubled home life that caused him to leave home at the age of 19. And he was what people at the time might call a hobo, someone who travels to find work.
Bird used train hopping as a means of transportation. He would sneak onto train cars, then hop off once the train reached a town. He might trade a day's work for a night's sleep and a warm meal wherever he stopped, only to hop back on another train and start the process again. This was actually pretty common at the time.
Yeah, it was. Actually, I had an uncle who was killed hopping a train.
Excuse me?
Yeah.
In the United States?
In the United States, yeah. My dad was actually older.
Uh-huh.
He was like 40 when I was born. So he grew up during the Depression, and he was in World War II. And I believe it was during the Depression. His older brother was train hopping, and he fell off the train and got killed. He got run over by the train.
That sounds awful.
I know.
Oh,
but
man.
yeah, it was pretty common.
But it happens, I guess.
Yeah, it was very common.
Well, I'm sorry for your loss.
Yeah.
I don't know anybody that has happened to.
Back in the 30s, way, way, way before I was born.
So let's see. The work was extremely difficult and the pay was low, but it was one of the only jobs available for Southern Black men and newly arriving immigrants at the time. Black men working on the railroad were held in high esteem among their peers. There's a blues song that says, when you marry a railroad man, say every day, Sunday, $1 in your hand.
Did you know that song?
No.
No, you just made it up.
I just ad-libbed. It's probably totally wrong because I'm so unqualified. But I think we can link to it. Is this a link?
Yeah, well, might be an NPR show, something like that.
Oh, okay,
It's about the African American Railroad experience, which I intended to listen to on the plane, and I did not.
So I got to interject here with some railroad news. No, I don't need to do the jingle. But so my son is obsessed with trains. So we frequent many train museums.
Oh, wow.
And many aviation museums. It's just like something we do every weekend. We'll find a new one. And I am so disappointed in these train museums because they never, ever have any exhibits talking about the Chinese people or the Black people or any other people of color who built the goddamn railroad system. And they really should be ashamed of themselves. However, I went to the Aviation Museum today, and maybe because aviation is more sexy and the Tuskegee Airmen are more sexy, but they had a very well laid out, thought out, cared for exhibit for the Black men who fought in World War II.
Oh, that's cool.
In the Air Force. So the Tuskegee Airmen. And I had to let a manager know that I was very excited about it. And I had to shout out all my social media to cry out how it's so gross to have everything be all white.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, I understand. All right, so Bird had an extensive criminal record, including burglary and attempted murder, although I could find no information about that. Just that Bird had estimated he had served about 15 years in various prisons for committing crimes, but I don't know what those crimes were.
Okay, so normally we would dive into a timeline, dates, places, people, but we can't do that.
No, we're going to have to do this one a little bit differently because, as you said, normally we go through a timeline listing the crimes as they happen, but this one had very little information on his earlier crimes, so we'll just start with the one crime that is documented.
All right, let's hit it.
All right.
That means it's party time. I'm just kidding. Okay, so on October 30th, 1947, Bird was prowling through Tacoma, Washington, when he stopped at the home of Bertha Kludt. She was 52, and her teenage daughter, Beverly, was home with her. Finding an axe in the woodshed, Bird reportedly stripped off his clothes before breaking into the house and hacking both victims to death. Jesus.
At 2:30 a.m. on Thursday, October 30th, Tacoma police officers Andrew P. Sabutis and Evan Skip Davies were dispatched to the Kludt house on 21st Street to investigate reports of screams coming from inside the house. As they approached, a barefoot man ran out of the back door into the backyard and crashed through a picket fence.
The police officers gave chase. The fugitive scaled several more backyard fences, but was finally stopped by a high wire fence and cornered in some nearby bushes. He pulled out a switchblade and then attacked the officers, cutting the hand of one and stabbing the other in the back. Whoa!
Yeah.
One of the officers, a former prize fighter, subdued the assailant with a left hook to the jaw and kick in the groin.
Kick in the groin. That's
Kick in the groin!
it's always a good one.
Woo! More kicks to the groin. No, I'm just kidding. Sorry.
After the fight, the prisoner was taken to the Tacoma General Hospital by Officer John Hickey in a patrol wagon, and he received treatment for head and face lacerations. Sabutis was admitted to St. Joseph Hospital with a severe back wound, and Davies had the cuts on his hand stitched and bandaged.
When police officers entered the residence, they found Ms. Bertha Kludt and her daughter, Beverly June Kludt, age 17, and they were both dead. Both women had been dealt several blows to the head with an axe. The murder weapon was found on the kitchen floor.
The man captured by the Tacoma police officers was identified as Jake Bird, a 45-year-old transient who had a lengthy criminal record, as we mentioned before, including burglaries, assaults, and attempted murder. At the city jail, Bird confessed to the murders, but claimed that burglary was his sole motive for entering the Kludt residence. He was caught in the act. This is what he said. He was caught in the act by Bertha Kludt, trying to rob the house, and tried to escape. And then she tried to stop him. Bird panicked and hit her in the head with an axe. Beverly June was awakened by the screaming and ran out to protect her mother and was killed. But homicide detectives determined that an attempt had been made to sexually assault Bertha Kludt in her bedroom before she was murdered. So their theory was that he entered the house to sexually assault her or rape her, and Beverly June was murdered because she was trying to protect her mother.
In your true crime experience, have you heard of anybody entering a house naked to rob it?
No.
Okay, just wondering.
Yeah, I think the police were probably correct in their assessment.
Okay. Well, and I also read that the door was unlocked. They didn't lock their door.
Yeah, which, at the time, a lot of people didn't lock their doors.
Yeah.
And something else that I read was that when Jake Bird was brought into the police station and they were questioning him, apparently he was a really good talker, and he had them almost convinced, but he had like brain matter and blood on his clothes, so it was obvious that he had done it, and they caught him running out of the house, but apparently he was a pretty smooth operator.
Hey, well, I mean, to ride those rails.
Yeah.
And
living as a transient,
to survive.
Yeah, you kind of have to be.
So on Friday, the next day, October 31st, 1947, Deputy Prosecutor Earl D. Mann, I think that name sounds racist, Earl D. Mann charged Jake Bird in Pierce County Superior Court with first-degree murder. But he was charged only in the death of Bertha Kludt. At the time, it was customary to file only one charge in multiple homicides. Then, if they were unable to convict on the first offense, they could file additional murder charges. At his arraignment, Bird pleaded not guilty, and the trial was set for Monday, November 24th, 1947. Whoa,
yeah, that's really fast.
2 week,
yeah,
3. Wow, that is really fast.
Yeah, back then trials did happen really fast, a lot faster than they do now.
I guess I didn't know that.
Yeah, pretty crazy, huh? At a motion hearing on November 14th, it says 57, but it has to be 47. 10 years later, 1947, Bird's defense attorney requested a change of venue, stating Bird could not get a fair trial in Pierce County. He also asked to be relieved as Bird's attorney, informing the court that Bird wanted to represent himself. The judge denied both requests.
The trial began on schedule, but was slowed by jury selection. Questioning of the prospective jurors revolved around their impressions of the crimes from the news media and whether Jake Bird, a black man, could get a fair trial.
Nope.
I think in Washington is a liberal state, right?
Well, I don't know how it was back then.
Yeah, I don't know how it was back then either, but I just the idea of like
could a black man get a fair trial? No.
Oh yeah, for sure. 4 jurors were excused when it was learned that they recently served on another first-degree murder trial in which the defendant was convicted and sentenced to hang. By the end of the day, a jury of 9 men and 3 women were selected, and court was recessed until 9 a.m. the next morning. Guess what color they all were?
I'm assuming white.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? You get a hip hop air horn.
Woohoo!
Here we go. Way to go. You got the answer right.
Okay, so the trial began on November 24th, 1947 in Pierce County Superior Court and lasted 2.5 days. Weighing heavily in the trial was the murder of Beverly June Kludt, who was bludgeoned to death when she came to her mother's defense. Blood and brain tissue from both victims were found on Bird's clothing, and his bloody fingerprints were found in the house and on the axe.
During the trial, Tacoma police officer John Hickey testified that he and Officer Russell Scuttum gave Bird a beating while he was in their custody. Hickey said, "I regret to say that I lost my temper after returning from the Kludt home and viewing the terribly hacked bodies of the 2 women." He left out the word white. I had asked Bird as we sat in the patrol wagon why he murdered the 2 women. He said he did not do it. I asked him who did it then, and he said, "It was Leroy."
Obviously.
Who was Leroy? I asked him, "Oh, another Negro around town," Bird replied. "You're lying," I replied. And he looked at me with a smug and insolent look.
He looked uppity.
He looked uppity. He was one uppity N-word. He didn't say that, but I know he felt it in his heart. I know I shouldn't have done it, but I hit him in the jaw with my fist, knocking him to the front of the patrol wagon. Then I struck him a number of times with my nightstick until he said, "Don't kill me." That brought me to my senses, and we took him to the hospital where a nurse said he wasn't badly hurt.
I'm surprised that he admitted that he beat him.
Well, I think throughout history, there's so many atrocious things that white cops have done to black men, guilty or not guilty. So that sucks. Racism sucks too. And racism in policing sucks. And I think this is an example, even though this perpetrator is a fucking asshole.
Yeah, yeah. But still, you can't go around beating people.
No, not necessary, because there's a system.
There is
the
a
system
system.
would have got him
Yeah.
anyway. Come on, guys.
Yep, not necessary. So Bird's attorney, James W. Selden, maintained that his signed confession had been obtained under duress and was therefore inadmissible. But the judge disagreed, admitting the confession into evidence. On November 26, 1947, after deliberating for only 35 minutes, the jury found Jake Bird guilty of first-degree murder and recommended the death penalty.
Now we'll get into the most publicized part of this case, which is the Jake Bird Hex. And I'm going to be using this despite all my enemies from now on.
Jake Bird Hex.
So on Saturday, December 6th, 1947, Judge Hodge sentenced Bird to be hanged on the gallows at the Washington State Penitentiary on January 16th, 1948. After a motion for a new trial was denied by Judge Hodge, defense attorney Selden told the court he had done everything in his power to defend Bird, and that, no further appeals would be made on Bird's half. Then Selden declared, "I feel whenever any man, 45 years old, gets an idea that no lives are safe to anyone except his own, that man is a detriment to society and should be obliterated."
And this is his defense attorney saying this.
Right.
Unbelievable. So when Judge Hodge asked Bird for comment, Bird declared, "I was given no chance to defend myself. My own lawyers just asked you to hang me. They apologized for defending me. If they were so reluctant to defend me, why did they contest the prosecutor's proof of murder and now say that everything is proven?"
So they contested the prosecutor's evidence, and
now they say that it was proven.
But then now they're saying they proved it, even though their evidence was bullshit.
Yeah.
But I don't really think it was in this case.
No, I think he was guilty. Yeah, but he has a good point.
I mean, if he had had a Johnny Cochran.
If his defense attorney at the end is saying, he should be obliterated, that's not their job to do that. I mean,
right.
They need to defend them even during sentencing and everything,
Yeah. I mean, otherwise, don't be a fucking defense attorney.
Oh, God.
Don't get me started.
So anyway, at the end of his 20-minute impassioned speech, Bird declared, "All you guys who had anything to do with this case are going to die before I do. And that became known as the Jake Bird Hex because within a year, 5 men connected with Bird's trial died.
Those 5 people were Edward D. Hodge, Pierce County Superior Court judge, age 69 when he died on January 1st, 1948. Joseph Carpock, Pierce County. You know what? I'm not going to do that on all of them. Under Sheriff, age 46, died April 5th, 1948. Maybe
Right
I will. George L. Harrigan, Pierce County Court reporter, age 69, died June 11th, 1948. Sherman W. Lyons, Tacoma Police Detective Lieutenant, age 46, died October 28th, 1948. And lastly, but not leastly, victim of the Jake Bird Hex, James W. Selden, Bird's defense attorney. Remember with the humdinger he had? Age 76, died November 26, 1948.
All right.
Okay, I'm done. Sorry.
According to the Tacoma News Tribune, all of the men died from heart attacks, and a 6th man, a Washington State Penitentiary guard assigned to death row, died of pneumonia 2 months before Bird's execution.
Do you believe in the hex? Do you think hexes
I think
are
it's
real?
probably a coincidence, but it's pretty interesting.
Yeah. Like he's in hell.
Gotcha.
Gotcha. Like he's serial killing from hell.
But yeah, it's pretty interesting. And some of them were young. Yeah. A couple of them were 46.
Yeah, in their 40s.
You know, the older ones, like there
40s.
was one, his defense attorney was 76. So
He was trash, by the way. Bird stalled his execution for nearly 2 years by confessing the crimes during his years on the rails, which authorities wanted to investigate. On Sunday, December 7th, 1947, Bird was taken in a patrol wagon to the Washington State Penitentiary in Walla Walla. By the way, ever tried a Walla Walla onion? That's the only thing they're famous
Penitentiaries and onions.
When can I get the Groupon for that trip? To await his execution. Shortly after his arrival, Bird began confessing to his involvement in other murders that took place over a span of 20 years.
Bird won a 60-day reprieve from the governor by claiming that he could clear up at least 44 other murders that he had either committed or participated in during his travels across the country. His confession brought investigators from all across the nation to interview him at the state penitentiary. Of the 44 confessed murders, only 11 were substantiated, but Bird had more than enough knowledge about the others to be the prime suspect.
As Beth said, at least 11 crimes were solved through Bird's confessions. Ooh, that's good. Starting with the axe murders of 2 women at Evanston, Illinois in 1942. Other victims were confirmed in Louisville, Kentucky, Omaha, Nebraska, Kansas City, Kansas, Sioux Falls, South Dakota, Cleveland, Ohio, Orlando, Florida, and Portage, Wisconsin.
Yeah, and I tried to find anything on the victims in those locations, and I could find nothing. So,
man,
yeah.
That sucks. It would be nice.
But police in Houston suspected Bird of murdering a Mrs. Harry Richardson there. And Chicago authorities were curious about a weighted body retrieved from Lake Michigan, 5 miles south of Kenosha. Los Angeles detectives had their eyes on Jake for murdering a black youth and a Jewish grocer. While in New York City, he was tentatively linked to the robbery and murder of a delicatessen owner. I feel like it was kind of a free-for-all.
I was going to say equal opportunity murders. He is captain of the diversity team in his little murdering club. I mean, he really doesn't seem like he really cared who was who.
If indeed he did these murders.
Oh, that's true. Never proven.
Never proven,
right?
Yeah.
Okay. Bird appealed his conviction to the Washington State Supreme Court, but his petition for a retrial was denied. The U.S. Court of Appeals and the U.S. Supreme Court also rejected his petitions for a new trial. After the appeal process had run its course, Bird was scheduled for execution on July 5th, 1949.
On July 14th, 1949, Jake Bird ate his last meal on death row and then talked with his attorney for 2 hours. Later that night, he was moved to a holding cell near the gallows, where he was shaved and dressed in new clothes.
Hey, what would your last meal be?
Steak. Yeah, I like steak.
I feel like mine should be an array of flavors on my plate. Now, I was thinking, get me a number 1 from Lolo's with waffles, fried chicken, grits, and a red Kool-Aid, and then I'd be all right.
I'm thinking steak and French fries. I do love French fries. Maybe home style fries.
Yeah. No, you wouldn't want to like a drink. Do they do that?
It depends on the prison, I think. You don't always get a choice. Sometimes you just get what they give you. Yeah. So, a drink. Well, God, I don't know. I'd be in prison. Maybe I'd want a Coke or something because I don't know if you can drink soda. Like some places are real strict about what you can drink. People don't even get to drink soda for years, so I might just want a Coke,
Yeah, dude, I don't know, but I saw this question. Maybe it was on one of your pages. What would your last meal in prison be? And most people said steak. Yeah. And I was like, just steak?
Oh, no. I'm just thinking the main dish, steak, French fries, something chocolate for dessert. Definitely. Yeah, for sure. Chocolate, maybe chocolate cake with...
It's got to be some chocolate on there.
Buttercream icing. Yum.
Yes. I digress. So early Friday morning, July 15th. I said July 5th earlier in my previous statement. That was wrong.
15th.
It was July 15th that he was scheduled. To be hanged. Bird was taken from his gallows level cell to the noose at 12:20 a.m., witnessed by 125 spectators. The gallows' trapdoor was released, and Jake Bird dropped 5 feet to his death. After 14 minutes, good God, his body was taken down, and a prison physician, Dr. Elmer Hill, pronounced him dead. He was buried in an unmarked grave. Why did you guys do that? In the prison cemetery, identified only as convict number 21520. I wonder if that's something they only did for black convicts.
Yeah, I don't know.
Anyway, Bird willed his personal fortune of $6.15 to Murray Taggart, the Walla Walla attorney who filed his appeals.
Jake Bird was the 63rd prisoner and the 7th African American to be executed in Washington state since the death penalty was established in 1904.
Up until the 1970s, Bird was considered the most prolific serial killer in the history of the United States. But what he is most known for is his hex, WTF. So, where are they now?
Bird's story ended on July 15th, 1949, almost 2 years after his last crime. He was hanged on the gallows, as we mentioned, and buried at the prison cemetery at Walla Walla Correctional Center.
His grave is marked with his prison number, 21520. And do we know what made him snap, Beth?
Not really, since we don't really know much about his home life, except for that he said, apparently, that it was horrible, and that's why he left. He would not even talk about his hometown. Nobody even knows what the name of his hometown was because he said he forgot it, which I don't believe. I forgot.
Yeah. So I moved a lot. And I moved to a place in Washington that I hated very much. And I do block that 7 years out of my brain. I try to forget every second of it, but I still remember the name of the town.
Yeah, so. We moved around a lot too when I was a kid, but I remember every single place that we lived, even though, some of them were awful. I kind of actually remember those better.
Oh, yeah, dang. So. We're going to have some tea soon.
So, I don't buy that he doesn't remember the name, but I don't know why he wouldn't divulge that information unless something really bad happened there. Like maybe he killed somebody.
Yeah. He admitted to killing 40-something people, but he wouldn't admit where he was from. Like just in terms of magnitude, those two stories are very different. where I'm from versus
So it makes me wonder, what the hell happened? Like, did he kill his family? What the hell happened?
Okay, the one crime he feels bad about.
Yeah, maybe. Or maybe he killed, I don't know, a child or something that would be more horrible than what he admitted to.
Yeah
maybe. But psychiatrists examined Bird in jail and they labeled him as a psychopath. And they said that he derived satisfaction from the sight of women cowering in terror. In the verified cases, most of his victims were female, most were white, and the majority had been killed with hatchets or axes in their homes. And that's all we know.
Yeah. It's too bad there isn't more info out there, but
Yeah.
that's why we're here to tell you what we do know. So I think that the hex, which doesn't sound like it was a very dramatic hex, he just said, you gonna die before he was sentenced, is the wildest part of this case because A, the hex worked, and then B, that's all the news cared about. I mean, dozens of white ladies died.
Yeah,
that's your guys' favorite.
Weird.
Yeah,
I know, pretty weird.
Also, when I heard that they hanged him and that there was a crowd, my brain was like, oh, this was like a lynching party. Because back in the exact time when he was hanged, lynching was a thing. It was a form of white terrorism where a bunch of white people would take a black person that they thought did something wrong. And if they couldn't find that person, well, you know what? Your brother or your sister or your
somebody else. Yeah,
we'll just take them. And they would string them up on a tree, sometimes castrate them, sometimes burn them, sometimes cut off their private parts, sometimes shoot them, sometimes cut off fingers and toes and use them as souvenirs.
Yikes.
And the townspeople, the crowds would drink lemonade and take pictures and send them to friends and family.
Ugh.
And so I thought that that's what his hanging was like when I saw the crowd and I saw that he was hanged. However, I found out that in the state of Washington, 2 methods of execution are legal. One is lethal injection and the second is hanging. Lethal injection is used unless the inmate under sentence of death chooses hanging as the preferred execution method. And I don't think that they had lethal injection back then. So
no, I don't know when that started, but yeah, I don't think they did back then.
So what's your takeaway, Beth?
I just wanted to mention that there was a criminologist named Eric Hickey, PhD, director of Alliant International University's Center for Forensic Studies. It's a long name. Wrote about how the Bird case challenges stereotypes of serial killers who are mostly thought to be Caucasian males, whereas African-American killers typically are associated with urban violence. And he wrote the revelations that Jake Bird, a black man, had actually stalked and killed dozens of white women in the 1940s in dozens of states, continues to challenge traditionally held profiles of serial killers. So this guy was very different, Jake Bird. And he allegedly killed 44 people and was known, as you mentioned, he was known as the most prolific serial killer until the 1970s, but didn't get much press, even though he was killing white ladies.
Yeah. Again, your favorite, guys.
But when he did, it was all about the hex.
Unbelievable.
And I also want to know why so few of his other crimes are listed anywhere. Anywhere. I mean,
where are the records?
Yeah. I mean, even Clementine Barnabette, we found information about the victims. I mean, there's nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe poor record keeping. Maybe, I don't know. There is a person who was on death row. He was on Oprah's Super Soul Sunday this past week. He wrote a book. He was on death row for 30 years and he didn't kill this white woman. He didn't kill or rape this white woman. But the police, when they arrested him, told him, you're just another, I hate saying the word, but you're just another N-word. And even if you didn't commit this crime, you probably did another one. So we're going to get you anyway. And then he spent 30 years in jail.
Oh
anyway,
so was he exonerated through DNA?
He was. Yeah. And there's a very prominent attorney. His name, I think, is Brian Stevenson. And his whole life's work has been releasing non-guilty people from death row, getting them off death row.
Does he work with the Innocence Project?
He might even be the boss of the Innocence Project. I don't know. I should know more facts.
Oh, I was just curious. Yeah. No biggie.
About the clients on death row that he gets off. And also, he's responsible for the opening of the lynching museum.
Oh, wow. Where's that?
Oh God, I should know more facts. Here, let me.
We can no. We can look it up and post it on our website.
Yeah, we'll put it in the footnotes. So there's this museum dedicated just to lynching.
Wow.
And you can just Google lynching museum and there's footage of the tour and there's photos and it will blow you away.
Wow.
Anyway, so that I think when we're talking about why we don't know very much about this guy's cases or his prior crimes is that I kind of believe, and I don't know this to be true, but I kind of believe that if the police arrested a Black person for a crime, that they felt there was less work involved, less real police work involved, including paperwork and record keeping.
Right.
And that might be why we don't know anything. So
Yeah, that's true.
All right, Beth, where can the people find us?
Our website is fruitloopspod.com, and we use Fruit Loops Pod for all of our social media. The footnotes for each episode can be found on our website. Plus, check it out for the different ways that you can support the show. You can also join us on Patreon, where we have hundreds of hours of bonus content. You can also support us by supporting our sponsors, or by giving us a 5-star review.
5 stars only, please.
Also, don't forget to subscribe.
That's right. Now, this is a weekly podcast, and episodes drop on Thursdays. So until next time, look alive, y'all. It's crazy out there.